What if I told you that one of history's most powerful dynasties wasn't just ruling with armies or wealth, but with something far darker? Behind palace walls, where gold gleamed and servants whispered, something forbidden was unfolding. This wasn't politics. It wasn't strategy. It was a practice so secret, so carefully hidden, that for centuries, history tried to bury it. But what they were really doing was far more disturbing. Lo, tense drum rumble. It was the late 16th century, in a sprawling kingdom whose influence stretched from bustling port cities to remote mountain fortresses. The dynasty at its helm was unmatched in power, royalty seen as almost divine. Crowds cheered their victories. Nobles bowed in their presence. They were the chosen, untouchable, larger than life. Yet whispers flowed through the corridors. Attendants spoke of strange midnight gatherings. Advisors vanished without explanation, and scribes recorded events in cryptic codes that later generations couldn't decipher. The public celebrated a golden age, but behind closed doors, the court's rhythm was anything but ordinary. Whispers faded, and the descent into the shadows began subtly. It started with small, secret rituals, tokens exchanged under candlelight, markings drawn in hidden chambers. But over time, the ceremonies grew, layered with symbolism and an almost religious devotion. Servants and courtiers alike were drawn into a world where fear and loyalty were inseparable. Imagine a grand hall, its chandeliers dimmed, the walls lined with tapestries depicting victories and family crests. At the center, a circular stone platform glows under flickering candles. Nobles kneel, robes brushing the cold floor, while a hush fills the air, broken only by a chant so low it seems to vibrate in the bones. Every gesture, every movement, is deliberate, every eye fixed on a central figure cloaked in shadows. One ritual, in particular, stood out. Each moonless night, the heir would step onto that platform. A parchment, covered in strange sigils, was held above the flames. As smoke twisted upward, the court watched silently. They believed it would grant insight, foresight, and control over forces they dared not name aloud. The candle's glow reflected in anxious eyes, flickering over faces locked in devotion or terror. But not everyone believed. One young advisor, tasked with recording these ceremonies, began to feel the weight of doubt. He noticed patterns in the chants, in the symbols, a repetition that hinted the dynasty's so-called divine connection might be something far more sinister. One night, as he peeked from behind a curtain, he realized the ceremony's purpose wasn't power or guidance. It was control, manipulation, a test of loyalty that sometimes ended in silent disappearances. Silence, then a faint, echoing chant. The twist was shocking. A historian's later notes revealed that the dynasty's rise to unquestioned authority had coincided with these rituals. What seemed like divine favor to the public was ritual influence. The court's obsession with secrecy wasn't tradition, it was necessity. Without the rituals, their grip on power might have crumbled. Everything that had seemed glorious, the triumphs, the conquests, the pageantry, was underpinned by something much darker. And yet, secrets have a way of surfacing. Paranoia took hold. Trusted allies became enemies overnight. Advisors vanished, replaced by those willing to obey blindly. Rumors escaped palace walls despite heavy punishments, feeding fear in the provinces. The dynasty, once untouchable, began to show cracks. Some say the rituals themselves were a double-edged sword. They granted a veneer of invincibility, but they also sowed distrust, obsession, and madness. Battles were won, but within the palace, the line between devotion and terror blurred. Eventually, decline came not overnight, but inevitable like the slow erosion of stone. Public celebrations continued, unaware that the dynasty's power was slipping through its fingers, one secret at a time. Low wind sound, hollow echo, and maybe that's the most chilling part. Because some historians believe these rituals didn't vanish when the last monarch fell. They evolved. They adapted, encoded texts in ceremonial echoes, in whispers among the powerful. The practices persisted, invisible but present, We like to think history is linear, that kingdoms rise, fall, and fade. But sometimes the shadows linger. The dynasty that practiced dark rituals may be gone, but the mechanisms they created, they never truly disappeared. So, the next time you hear about a dynasty's golden age, remember what's shown for the public. I was only part of the story. Behind the curtains in hidden chambers, under flickering candlelight, the truth was far stranger, far more unsettling, because some doors once opened never truly close, and some rituals once begun echo forever. Long, slow drum fade, whispering ends abruptly,